Hello everybody, my name is Tobisatsu, and welcome to my channel. So, I'm planning on this being the first video that I do release, along with maybe some other projects that I'm thinking of working on and possibly editing up, just to get kind of a basic understanding of, me and this channel. My name is Toby, and for the most part, this is going to be a very physical media oriented channel. So I want to show off DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, whether it be talking about the films, talking about the quality, whatever it may be with said films. I also do collect a lot of Godzilla and Kaiju memorabilia, so you can expect to also see that at times. Um, and really just kind of want to make content that appeals to me and hopefully can appeal to you guys. And to start off, I thought I'd do something kind of bigger, and a little more entertaining, I guess, just as a general thing. I have all of the things that I've bought in this year in relation to movies, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, so on and so forth. Quite a few things here. Some of it I have more to say than I do on other things. But we'll get this just started right away. If I've got a bunch of things to say on something, I'll make the time. If not, kind of just skim it over. The first few things I have here come from a trip that I had with some friends earlier in the year. For the first chunk of this year, I didn't really buy much physical media, mainly as I was transitioning into a new job. And money was something that, while not tight, I didn't want to just freely spend. So these came at a very cheap price. They were all half off, so I think it was like $1.50 for each of them. And the first thing's a little odd, not something I normally buy, but that would be Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Now, I got this for my girlfriend and I to watch. She's a big fan of these older Disney films and some other just kind of, older 2000 comedies that were geared towards families and such. And we've been kind of going through and watching them. This one in specific she mentioned, and like I said, it was $1.50, so pretty cheap. I did end up watching this, and it was all right. If you were around for Disney Channel, especially during the cable days, you kind of know what to expect with this. I found it shocking George Lopez wasn't in it as much. At least when I thought of this film as a kid, I always associated George Lopez with it, specifically, obviously, this character. He's not even in it more than, I'd say, 20 minutes, probably less. And it more revolves around this Chihuahua. I don't know, it's an easy watch. I feel like if you're going to see this or have any interest in watching this, you know what to expect from it. With that, I found a really cool film that I personally enjoy a lot. Kung Fu Hustle. It's got some schmutz. We'll ignore that, though. A really solid film. Very wacky kung fu film. I like my action movies. I'm not too in the know with kung fu films, just to be honest, but I really did enjoy this. It's very outlandish and cartoony. Much of this takes place within like a singular district of buildings, and for the lack of, I guess, space, they have some really good action scenes. There's also just overall solid sets and such. Acting's fun. The story and the characters are good. It's just a fun movie. It's been a little bit since I've seen it, so I don't really have a super ton to say on it, just off those basic things, but it's a very creative movie. And if you're into kung fu films, you'd enjoy it. It's very out there, especially some of the over-the-top action reminds me a bit of John Wick, just without the gore, to be honest. So if you have a interest in action like that, I think you'd enjoy this. Something I also got, not as huge of a fan of Kong as I am with Godzilla, as you'll see as we go through, but I got the animated series of King Kong Volume 1. I believe this is Hanna-Barbera. If not, I'll probably correct myself on the video. But this is a 2-volume set in total. Again, I got this for, I think it was like $1.50. And I mainly got it just off the fact it's King Kong. I like to collect a lot of tokusatsu and kaiju media. And even if it's something I may not necessarily watch normally, I like to kind of just have it to preserve it. The second set, I believe, is like $12 online. So to get like a full show for like, what would that be, like $13, $14 total? I think that's pretty solid. And I like the look of the animation being kind of just very old 60s Hanna-Barbera-esque. Going with that, there's a lot of thrifting that I do, and this is something that I also found while thrifting, which is the complete first season of The Simpsons. The only thing is that the person's name is in every piece of this box set. So, unfortunately, annoying there. But I got this for, no price on it, but I think it was like $4. So, it really wasn't too bad for what you're getting. My girlfriend has gotten me into The Simpsons, specifically the later seasons 7, 8, and 9. So essentially, when the show was actually good, I watched a lot of the season 20 seasons as a kid, like as they were airing, and they're just not good. When I think back to what I watched, I remember watching Lisa Goes Gaga, and even as a kid, I was like, "Oh, this is shit." But early season Simpsons is great. I'd really like to get these sets. The only thing is that they cost a metric fuck ton now, and they're really hard to find. I used to find those everywhere in thrifty shoppers, Goodwills, wherever. Just gone. To get the first 8 seasons, you're going to be running close to probably, I'd say, $100, which is just unfortunate. There was an opportunity that I found that was $30 for the first 10 seasons, and I missed it. I messaged the person just off before I was able to get it, so too bad. I'm not too persistent on collecting them, but I would like to just build them at some point and get up to at least season 8. But we'll see how long that takes. Again, I'm trying to just thrift them, but maybe at some point if I get close to the end, I might just buy them off. I mentioned that I had DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks to show off, but something else I do collect is VHS. Not as often, but I really like to collect some of the older kaiju films and kind of just oddball things that I think that would either look good in VHS or just interest me to watch on a CRT. This being something that I think was very interesting and I'm glad I picked up was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, I'm not that big of a Star Wars guy, and I mean, this was 99 cents, so it wasn't much of a gamble. I like the prequel movies, just on the schlock terms of them. I don't think they're necessarily good films. I think the third one's pretty solid, but my big thing and why I got this was because I wanted to see how the CGI looked through a CRT. Obviously, as this film has gone through upscalings with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, the CGI has aged worse and worse. At the time this came out, it's a pretty big deal, and obviously had a lot of achievements attached to it, but especially now watching it on like a 4K, doesn't look great. On a CRT, it looks really solid, actually. Most of the CGI blends in perfectly. It's kind of one of those things that's fun to watch on a CRT just because it is a old 90s blockbuster. And I think just watching those things on a TV, especially late at night, it's just fun. With this, I also got another VHS. This one a little more beat up, unfortunately, but that is Godzilla versus Monster Zero, also known as Invasion of Astro Monster, which is a personal favorite of mine from the Godzilla franchise. Not even going to say it's a good movie. It's schlock. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The characters are stupid in it. I mean, it is a dumb movie, but man, is it good content. I love me some Godzilla and some schlocky kaiju action. And this was like a sweet spot for the Showa era for me, where there's goof, but there's also some seriousness. So great. Obviously, I have this from Criterion and some other releases, but mainly wanted this for the art. It is a little beat up, as you can see. There's some gashing and stuff, which isn't exactly what was shown in the picture, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, overall, at some point I can pick up another piece of this. I really want to get the Japanese VHS in specific, but, for now I'm happy with that. Going along with this, one of my first big buys, and we'll start to get more into when I was buying things, was I think it was 3 for $33 they were doing on Amazon for 4Ks. And they had quite the selection. I mean, I think they had Jaws, they had the Meg 2, Jurassic Park, some other really decent films. And especially if I had more money at the time, I may have taken better advantage of the deal. But I'm quite happy with what I bought. To start, I got Nobody on 4K here. Really like this film, actually. I'm a big fan of the John Wick films. And I specifically like this film as it kind of hits what the original John Wick was, a more grounded action film. I do enjoy the later entries, especially John Wick Chapter 4. I actually really like that film. But I do also like, especially in action films like this, when you can see the protagonist getting progressively hurt more and more, and you see it kind of just grow, and it's more endearing to watch someone get the shit kicked out of him and then bounce back from it than it is like in John Wick 4, where the action is fantastic and the set pieces are amazing, but by the end of it, he looks like he maybe, got punched a few times and that's it. There's no real threat to John, where in this, there definitely is. Bob Odenkirk is great. Love him as an actor, so was very happy to find this as part of that deal. It's a film that I wouldn't pay full price for, but on discount, very worth it. A lot of films that I'm buying are like that. Going along with that for the deal was Barbie without the sparkly slipcover, unfortunately. Not as big of a fan of Barbie as I am with Nobody and really just films in general. I always will associate this movie with Oppenheimer and that double release. My friend and I did the double, what do you call that? The double feature, essentially. I was dressed up as Ken, he was dressed up as Oppenheimer, so really good memories associated with this film, even though I'm not a big fan of it. My girlfriend really likes this, and that's why I bought it. Watched it twice in theaters and then just off the 4K, and it looks great. But don't get me wrong, I love the sets. I think Ryan Gosling's great. There's some good funny moments, but just as a whole, it just doesn't vibe with me. I don't like the Barbie goes to the real world plot they took. I really wish they kept it in Barbie Land. I think that would have been a great film with just how the tone and everything was set. It was great. I think as they escape to the real world and the tone kind of stays the same but gets a little more, I guess, grounded. I don't really know how to describe it past that. It feels like they're still talking to people in Barbie Land, but the real world has real world applications at times. I just wasn't a big fan of that. Felt like a waste, to be honest. This is another film I'm very happy to have, but it's something I would get only on sale, which is John Carpenter's The Thing. Fantastic film. I love me some practical effects and I love me some monster movies. This has both. It is a fantastic film. It looks incredible on 4K. A lot of times this is going for $20 and up on Amazon and some other places when I do look. So to find this for $11, steal it. That's me. I love that. So instant cop. Much like films like I was saying earlier that I really do want. Like I love 10 Cloverfield Lane. I want to get that new horror movie stop motion on Blu-ray because I really enjoyed that this year. They're not films that I'd get at full price, but if they go on sale, for sure, copping them. So for $33 to get those three movies, I think it's fantastic. I believe the thing I'm going to show off now is actually the first purchase I had this year, which was Godzilla vs. Kong, the glow-in-the-dark art version. Sorry for the reflection here, but it does glow and it actually looks really cool. I had the initial steelbook. Well, not had. I have the initial steelbook. This is why this is sealed still, which I think is better art, but I do like this art. And it's just kind of a nice collectible piece. Now, I really actually like Godzilla vs. Kong. I know a lot of people weren't huge on this, and it seems like more people lean towards Godzilla X Kong being a film they liked more. I'll get into that in a moment because I do have something related to that. But I think Godzilla vs. Kong is fantastic. It's one of the better films in the MonsterVerse. Not a big fan of King of the Monsters. And then, like I said, I'll give my opinion on Godzilla X Kong in a second. But I think this balanced the human stuff and the kaiju stuff great. The pacing flies by. So really do enjoy this. It's a good comfort movie and just a good popcorn flick. Like I said, I have something related to Godzilla X Kong, which is the Steelbook for Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. So, compared to Godzilla vs. Kong, not as big of a fan. I don't hate this movie, but I also don't like it a ton. I find it annoying that they give Godzilla top billing when he is treated as a side character, really. And I think that is something where, at that point, it's a bias of me as to why I have some issues with the movie. But that's definitely something that peeved me off with it. I don't think the plot works as well. And I also just don't find the characters as interesting. I really like Brian Tyree Henry's character in this. I liked him in Godzilla vs. Kong as well, and he was the big reason I was happy to see this. I think he's decent. And then, what is it? Dan Stevens, I think is his name. I don't know why I'm blanking on him right now, but he's a good actor. He was in this as well as Trapper, and he was all right. They pushed Gia back big time, and I think that storyline she had with Kong is just unfortunately wasted. And instead, it looks like they put Kong and Suko in that kind of parental position, which works. Kong's a good sympathetic character. And again, I think that's why they took such a lead approach with him and put Godzilla in the back. But the way they use Godzilla makes him feel like such a background character that he shouldn't really even be in the name. It feels like a cameo more than it does a actual leading role. Someone made a great comparison where they said it was like Scrat from Ice Age, where he has his scenes and his moments, and it affects the plot, may affect it, may not. And it's usually at the end of the film where the two sides clash together and it becomes relevant. Overall, it's not a shit film, but it's on the lower end for me. Better than King of the Monsters, not better than 2014 Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong, at least based on like my current viewing of it. Next up, again, big thrifter. I found this for a really good deal. This is the Jurassic Park Ultimate Trilogy, which obviously includes Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and then Jurassic Park 3. I know these are on 4K, and I'd have the opportunity to get them on 4K, but this costed me $3, which I think is a steal for these three films. I think that the $3 covers, honestly, the first movie by itself. So to get the whole trilogy is perfect. Not huge on Jurassic Park. I enjoy the first one a lot, and I've seen all three of the Jurassic World movies. I like Jurassic World a little bit, and Fallen Kingdom I liked just on the terms of the stupidity of it. I saw Lost World and Park 3 as a kid, but don't remember too much on them. So, don't want to get too into that and act like I know what I'm talking about. But I'll be happy to rewatch these at some point. I'm excited to have this. And I own Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom. So, unfortunately, to complete the set, I bought Jurassic World Dominion, which is a horrible film. It is not a good film. There's too much going on. It's too many films in one. It's a spy movie. It's a family drama. It's a monster movie. It's a apocalypse movie with the locust. It is all over the place. Too much going on. And I got this $3.99. So I spent more on this than I did the Jurassic Park trilogy on Blu-ray. That's horrible. That is screwed up. It's a bad film. Not big on it. I saw it in theaters. I haven't watched it since. May not even watch it again. I just wanted it for the completionist aspect of it. This code came with the Blu-ray, and I'm not too sure if it works, but I obviously don't have a need for it, so show it. I don't think. Oh, there's also a code here, I guess, if you want Universal Rewards. But I'm not too big on using those codes. So, at least for this, especially. So if you want to use that, there you go. That's Jurassic World Dominion. Some other thrifting hauls. These next few items are huge for me. Again, big Godzilla fan, and I'm trying to collect all the films on Blu-ray. And a lot of them are really hard to find in the U.S., especially at a reasonable price. Mainly because a lot of the films, such as Return of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and Godzilla vs. Mothra from the Heisei era, and the film I'm going to mention, go out of print, aren't printed enough, and just skyrocket in price. The film I'm specifically going to show is on VHS, which to find in Goodwill is incredible in itself. And it's Godzilla vs. Biollante. 99 cents. Now, the VHS for this, I've seen go pretty high on eBay and Mercari. Anywhere from $15 to higher. You get to the DVD. Those used to be at $30. And they now go for anywhere from $40 to $50, which is ridiculous for a DVD. And if you want the Blu-ray of this film, you're shooting well into the hundreds, and most of the listings I see are $150. Ridiculous. I love this film. It is one of the better Godzilla films. It is not worth that much money for a Blu-ray. At some point, I'm looking to build a media server to store a lot of these movies on. And when I get that up and running, I want to import some movies, just in general, that are more exclusive to Japan in terms of the Blu-rays of them. And add some subtitles, get a few things for that, and just stream them that way. Saves me a lot of money. But it's cool to have this just because it's a VHS. And, again, you never see these in Goodwills or thrifty shoppers anymore. Especially the Toho Godzilla stuff. So that's really cool. With this, and this is why it was, in my opinion, such a successful trip, I found seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Breaking Bad, sealed. And with those, I found season 4, which is a little beat up, but what are you going to do? And season 5. All complete, all discs included. The discs also look good on them, which is a big thing for me. Just an insane deal, especially when 3 of the 5 are sealed, and as a set, it came $25 total. So, insanely happy with this. I have actually not watched Breaking Bad yet, but I have a lot of interest in it. My girlfriend and I want to binge it. I also want to watch Better Call Saul at some point, so we'll see when that happens. But I have high hopes for this show, and to have a full set or a full series for $25 is already a steal, especially when it's a 5-season show. But for it to be Breaking Bad just makes it that much better. Alrighty. So, I have 3 more items. 2 of them are a bit bigger, so we'll go into them. So it may take a moment, even though it's 3 items, but the first one being the Gamera Showa era from Arrow Video. Now, I'm not as used to the Showa era as I am with the Heisei era for Gamera. I've been slowly getting through these films this month, so I've been excited to go into this a little bit and kind of just talk about it. At some point, I want to make some review videos on these. I'm not sure if I will, but we'll see. For the Showa era set, though, just to see what you get Gamera, the Giant Monster, which I have watched. You get Gamera versus Barugan and Gamera versus Gyaos, which Gamera versus Barugan is fantastic. Really like that movie. If you like old tokusatsu, fantastic film to check out. Gamera versus Gyaos was okay. Same with Gamera the Giant Monster, to be honest. You then have Gamera versus Virus, and Gamera versus Guron. I've heard Gamera versus Virus is pretty bad, so that will be interesting once I actually watch it. So we'll see what I think of that. And then just to wrap it up, we have Gamera versus Jiger, Gamera versus Zigra, and then Gamera Super Monster. Now I got these sets and the next set as well for $50 off Amazon, which I actually think is a really good deal for these. Obviously, the amount of films you get is fantastic, but just the overall presentation of like the packaging and the special features included are great. The only complaint I have thus far with this set is some of the quality of the video. Obviously, it's going to be dependent, but I wasn't too big on how certain scenes are obviously very HD and others aren't. I'm sure it comes down to the prints and the reels they have of these films. And at that point, you can't do too much to really remedy that. But it is a bit unfortunate that it is so prevalent that it does kind of take you out of what you're watching. But to have a set of high quality films is fantastic. And I'm really excited to watch through the rest of these. Again, I'm not too familiar with the Showa era of Gamera films, but something I am is the Gamera Heisei era, which includes the Heisei trilogy, as well as Gamera the Brave. I've watched all of these films. I was a fantastically large fan of Gamera the Brave as a kid, and the Gamera Heisei trilogy has been something I've loved for years and has become my favorite trilogy, really. I mean, I can think of the Planet of the Apes Matt Reeves trilogy coming close to it, but as a trilogy, it probably is my favorite. This set specifically includes Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. Really good film. Good start to a trilogy. Gamera 2, The Attack of Legion, which I love this film so much. So much. Lots of special features on this one too. And it includes the Lake Texarkana cut, which is, from what I understand, a dub of this film where everyone in it has a Texan accent and the plot is essentially gibberish. It's nothing. I'm really excited to watch that. This is my favorite of the trilogy and really like a top 5, maybe even top 3 tokusatsu film, and just the films in general for me. It is so good. So good. If you haven't watched the Heisei trilogy, watch it. The trilogy ends with Revenge of Iris. I don't know why I didn't say it then, but not as big on this as I am with Attack of Legion. I still have to rewatch this. I've seen it like 3 times. But I've more recently seen Guardians and Attack of Legion and love those films. So definitely want to check this out again. Same thing goes for Gamera the Brave, which I actually have not seen since I was a kid. But I loved it as a kid. I remember the action being great. I like the story a lot. So I'm very, very intrigued, especially with this, to rewatch it. I'm very interested to see how the transfer of Gamera Attack of Legion looks, but This is also, again, $50 is a steal for this. The quality of films you're getting are great. So, doesn't have a lot of quantity, you could say. I still think 4 for 50 is great, especially if you're, again, Amazon. I don't know how much it is anywhere else, but so worth it. And for the part that I'm sure everybody is waiting for here, if I could not botch it, which I did, that's okay. Boom. Awesome packaging, awesome collections. Very content with what I got. Again, if you can find these for 50 on Amazon, if you have interest in the tokusatsu genre, just to have these pieces, great. Highly recommend this if you had to pick one, just because the Heisei era and Gamera the Brave are great. But definitely happy with these sets. You're getting a lot, and to have this franchise preserved at a high quality, ecstatic. We need more tokusatsu releases. I know Vinegar Syndrome had released recently Yongari and then Reptilicus, which at some point I would really like to get those. To finish off simple though, just to leave with something not as talkative for me, that would be Knuckles, the Steelbook. Really actually like the show. I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of Wade being the, I guess, the secondary main character. I still think this is Knuckles' show. Everything is revolving around his story. I think he's in it enough, and I think Wade as a character is more than interesting enough to actually carry aspects of the show. I think up until the rock opera episode, which I believe is episode 5, episode 5, or maybe episode 6. The show's great. Love it. The moment they hit Reno, downhill. Not big on that. I think that whole Reno subsection could have been crushed into like an extended 1 episode thing. And if it was, this show would be great. I think it's good. It's close to great, but the ending definitely falters it. But I mean, I'm a big fan of the Sonic franchise, video game wise, and even the movies. I think the first 2 are great fun. A little childish, obviously. I mean, they're geared towards kids. Same with this show, but I really, they're good, just escapist popcorn flicks. And this, I thought, surprised me way more than I expected. So if you have interest, I would check out Knuckles. I know it's an unpopular opinion. A lot of people aren't as big on that as I am, but, I was content with it. And guess what? That's it for now. Over 30 minutes now. We're just about to cross 33 minutes. Lots of talking. Lots of yapping. And I'll end it with this. I've got 2 tasks for you guys. 1, so far this year, I'm sure I'm not the only person who's bought quite a few pieces of physical media. Leave in the comments what in specific has been your favorite pickup thus far. Overall, for me, it'd probably either be the Heisei era of Gamera films, or I would say Godzilla vs. Biollante on VHS. Just awesome pickups there. And with that, I'd like, if you could, with that comment, leave some suggestions on things I can improve on. Whether it be sound, whether it be pacing, am I talking too much, you know what I mean? That's going to be something that might be harder to change, but possibly camera position, other things I can improve on, lighting. Let me know. There's some stuff I can improve on. There's some stuff I can't improve on. But as long as I'm able to bring out a product that people can enjoy, I'm happy. And constantly improving is a big thing I want to do with this channel. I want to put out some really good quality content that ranges in variety. And it starts with getting some criticism on this stuff. So, to wrap it up again, this has been Tobisatsu. If you liked what you saw, leave a like. Again, comment with the questions that I've asked. And if you really did enjoy this, subscribe. I plan on doing some more stuff. I have a few items coming in the next few days that I kind of want to do a separate tiny haul for, just to talk about them a little bit. I think it's a bit interesting. So definitely stick around for that. I've got some shorts and some other types of videos that I do want to make, like I said. So we'll see where that leads us. And again, thanks for watching. This has been Tobisatsu, and I hope that you all have a fantastic day.